Hi, hello, welcome back to another reaction video. So let's react to this video. Shannon Sharpe gets destroyed in Jordan versus LeBron debate. It's one thing, to love Bron. It's okay. But to be just so disrespectful and, disrespect Jordan, that is insane to me. But yeah, we're going to get into this video. So let's watch right now. Like, it's MJ.
It's widely known Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan are bitter rivals and do not get along. As till this day, these two players
Like, that's crazy. It's
and when
MJ.
it comes to Isaiah Thomas in recent years, he's been a big proponent of LeBron James being the greatest player of all time. And looking at the NBA media, one of the biggest LeBron James fans is indeed Shannon Sharpe.
I didn't either.
Those James did enough on them on Heat yesterday.
So looking at both Shannon and Isaiah, they're massive LeBron James fans and do believe he's the greatest player in NBA history. Now, with that being the case, in today's video, we're going to respond to Shannon's points, debunk his narratives, and once again, respond to Isaiah Thomas. So with that being said, let's get right into the video.
Isaiah is old enough to remember, and what people get upset about, Isaiah said, Michael wasn't my competition. Larry, Kareem, Magic, we beat the brakes off Jordan. It wasn't until
Damn, you got my shit lagging with that statement.
those guys got old and started to leave. Jordan won his title 1 year before Bird retired. Remember, Magic diagnosis came out in 91.
Now, listening to Shannon talk right there, it's the same old talking points, the recycled narratives, they get repeated ad nauseum. When talking about Jordan's competition, the overall notion they got old, and that's why he beat him, is flat out false. Looking at the 91 Lakers who Jordan played in the finals, that year Magic Johnson was a runner-up to MVP only behind Jordan, and the 2 years prior had won back-to-back MVP awards. Magic at that point was still in his prime and very much a top 5 player. And looking at that Lakers team, they won 58 games and were a top 5 defense as well as offense. And when it comes to their overall roster and the starting players, they were far from old. Magic was 31, Worthy was 29, Perkins was 29, Vlade Divac was 22, and Byron Scott was also 29. Now, one thing you could say about that Lakers team is they didn't have Kareem, their Hall of Fame center. But adding some really important context, looking at LA's last championship in 1988, Kareem at that point was a very similar player to Vlade Divac in 1991. I'm not saying Vlade is greater than Kareem, but comparing those two players at that point in their careers, it's eerily similar. And staying in 91, looking at Detroit, at that point in time, they were the back-to-back defending world champions and still a top 5 defense. Isaiah Thomas, he was 29, Robin was 29, Dumars was 27, Mark Aguirre was 31, and Bill Laimbeer was 33. They were a very good, deep veteran team, but they were far from old. And one thing I do want to point out, looking at the Pistons and Lakers, heading into 91, they were favored to win the finals over Chicago. And looking at Shannon Sharpe, when it comes to his overall take, the one thing he won't do is apply the same logic to LeBron James. As looking at Boston in 2011, the first time LeBron beat them, KG was 34, Ray was 35, Paul Pierce was 33, Rondo was 25, and Kendrick Perkins was 26. Even going one step further, looking at the 2013 Spurs, that team was definitely aging. Tony Parker was 30, Duncan was 36, Manu was 35, Kawhi was 21, and Danny Green was 25. Using Shannon's own logic, that Jordan's opponents got old applies to LeBron James even more so. And one last thing I do want to throw in there, looking at older veteran teams, that really means nothing with their skill level as well as their experience. For example, Dallas in 2011, they're the second oldest team ever to win a championship, beating LeBron James and his Big 3 Heat. If beating an older team is considered bad, what does it mean when you lose to them in embarrassing fashion?
So this notion, Skip, that all of a sudden that Jordan was winning, Jordan, nobody ate when Jordan was eating. Yes, they did. Magic Johnson got full. Larry Bird had a second and a third helping. Isaiah had 2 plates. So don't do that. Don't do that. Magic was at the buffet. Magic had a buffet. Got 5 servings on Michael Jordan's watch.
So let me step in real quick and correct Shannon. When looking at players in Jordan's era, he entered the NBA in '85. Magic Johnson.
I'm sorry, he's just
already
funny.
had 2 rings, and Larry Bird also had 2. That's the first correction. I also want to make it very clear. Once again, Shannon Sharpe is holding Jordan to this crazy standard. Because looking at LeBron James, if you apply the same logic, it's not going to go well. As looking at Jordan's 15-year career, only 5 teams won on his watch, compared to LeBron James, who in his career had 9 different teams win championships. And looking at Hall of Fame players who got rings on LeBron's watch, you had Tim Duncan, Kobe, D. Wade, Steph Curry, the Big 3 Celtics, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Dirk Nowitzki, even Giannis. If Shannon wants to go there with Jordan, why not look at LeBron James and apply the exact same logic? And I do want to make one thing very clear. Looking at Jordan's era in the 90s, for that decade, he dominated like no other player outside of Bill Russell. Winning 6 championships in 8 years, 3-peating twice, never going to a Game 7 in the finals, never losing 3 games in a row, and his overall playoff record being 27-2. And the cherry on top for Jordan in his era, he prevented tons of Hall of Famers from winning championships.
Wow.
Guys like John Stockton, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Karl Malone, Barkley, the list goes on and on and on.
That's disrespectful.
LeBron James has the 5th highest scoring average in NBA history. And only Wilt Chamberlain has a high field goal percentage. So it's Jordan, Wilt, I think Elgin Baylor, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Kevin Durant is about 27.2. LeBron James is 27.1. And LeBron James has averaged at least 25 points a game for 18 straight seasons. You see, the notion is because he doesn't shoot the ball like a Kevin Durant from the 3, or his pull-up game is not as nice. He doesn't have a layup package like a Kobe or Mike that hangs in the air and the tongue hanging out all the way to the floor. He doesn't have any of that. All he does is consistently put the ball in the basket, game after game, year after year, for 19
What does that have
seasons.
to do with anything? That's just his
For the first time in
fashion.
this video, me and Shannon actually agree on one thing. And when it comes to LeBron James, his ability to score is definitely underrated. And for the past 20
Why we
years,
had to bring that up,
he's been
though?
an absolute machine, averaging 25 points nearly every season. And in my own personal book, LeBron James, looking at his totality of work, he is undoubtedly a top 5 scorer. But the one thing I would be wary of is looking at total stats and his raw scoring numbers. Because like Shannon said, when it comes to scoring, there are things that matter and little nuances that don't show up on the stat sheet. For example, look at someone like Karl Malone, who for 17 straight years averaged above 20 points. Compared to someone like Kobe, Karl Malone was a more consistent scorer, as Kobe in his career only averaged above 20 for 14 straight years. And still looking at raw stats,
Dude, I still can't believe we
Malone,
lost
for his
Kobe.
career averaged the same points per game as Kobe on better
This shit's
shooting.
still weird.
And looking at total points all time, Karl Malone actually beats Kobe in this category. My overall point being, looking at longevity or total stats, yes, they do matter, but looking at who the better overall scorer was, someone like Karl Malone isn't comparable to Kobe Bryant.
He could possibly reach 40,000 points. And he led his team in assists every single year. So let that sink in. If Michael Jordan were to lead his team in rebounding, he was that's like Dennis Rodman. All of a sudden, Dennis Rodman known as a rebounder, and he's a rebounder. He's a rebound first guy. LeBron James is thought of as a pass first guy, and he's gonna be the all-time leading scorer.
This right here is one of the worst LeBron narratives, as someone like Shannon says LeBron James is a pass-first player. Now, I understand Shannon's thinking, because LeBron James is a dual threat, a great passer, and a great scorer. But looking at his scoring ability, for his career, he takes 19.6 shots per game and averages above 7 assists. When talking about a pass-first player, You look at someone like John Stockton, Magic, Jason Kidd, Mark Jackson, even Rajon Rondo. Those players are real pass-first players, and they very rarely average above 20 points per game. Once again, for LeBron James, he's a great dual-threat talent, but his scoring ability is so great, he's far from a pass-first player. For example, look at someone like James Harden. In his career, he averages 16 shots per game, which is lower than LeBron James. And looking at prime Harden in Houston, he averaged 30 points per game, 7.7 assists, on 19.6 shots. Now remember, LeBron James for his career also averages 19.6 shots. Would anyone in their right mind say James Harden was a pass-first player in Houston? Absolutely not. The quote-unquote pass-first label is absolutely ludicrous and laughable when applied to LeBron James.
LeBron has played greatly longer than anybody ever has. That doesn't equate to being the GOAT, because all I know is that Michael Jordan won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1. 10
But Skip,
to 1.
That was Michael's primary job, was a scorer. LeBron is asking, LeBron, I need you to give me 27, but I need you to grab me 8 boards and 8 rebounds. That's what Michael was never asked to do what LeBron is doing. He had Rodman, he had Cartwright, he had Bill Weddington.
This right here is one of the worst Jordan narratives that is still alive and well, saying Jordan in his career was only asked to do one thing, which was score the basketball. Basically downplaying his overall game and how good a passer and defender he was. And I'm not going to take all day, but looking at Jordan's career, it's pretty easy to find out he was more than a scorer. In 1989, he averaged 8.0 assists, which was 10th in the NBA and first among shooting guards. Also during that year, for an 11-game stretch, had 10 triple-doubles while playing point guard and putting up 34 points per game. And looking at the playoffs in 91, he averaged 8.4 assists, which is second behind Magic, in the finals 11.4, which is the most ever for a non-point guard. And if you want to find an entire playoff run where Jordan did everything for his team, look at 1997. As during that run, he led his team in points, assists, steals, as well as blocks. And when it came to rebounds, he trailed Dennis Rodman by only 10. Think about that for 1 second. Michael Jordan, a 6'6" shooting guard who did everything for his team, trailed Dennis by only 10 boards. That right there alone kills Shannon Sharpe's argument. And one last thing I do want to debunk, comparing Jordan versus LeBron, Shannon Sharpe says LeBron was quote-unquote asked to do more than Michael Jordan. So with that being the case, let's look at both Jordan and LeBron in their first 4 championship runs. In Jordan's runs, he averaged 32 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals on 49% shooting. Compared to LeBron James, who averaged 28 points, 10 boards, 7 assists, nearly 2 steals on 52% shooting. Comparing both these players, the biggest gap comes in scoring, where Jordan averages 5 more points per game. But the one glaring thing you will see is LeBron James only averaged 1 more assist than Michael Jordan, the quote-unquote score-first player who only had 1 job. Once again, these facts right here kill Shannon's argument and debunk one of the worst Jordan narratives. Now, with that last point being made, that is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.
Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this guy's research, what he came up with, or do you agree with Shannon Sharpe more? Let me know down below in the comments. In the next one, bye.